to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant!
Judgment, Alfred.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alfred.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative, and it's so good to see all of you guys tonight. I see Seashell and Ann Reynolds. Ann Reynolds, I hope you sleep well. I was so sorry I was on late tonight, guys, again. I have Adam Forever 21. I also saw Disa, also known as Town Chat Cafe. Good to see you. And Show Poodles. Also saw Sasha and Meg. Good to see all of you guys today. And I wanted to shout out Meg today because I know that she has just lost a friend of the family, and you know, she was taking care of him in his final days, and that's just the kind of awesome person that Meg is. So everybody, you know, give Meg some love and, you know, pray for her family. Just, you know, a hard situation to to deal with, you know. So make sure you give Meg some love. And also, Meg, I have not forgotten. I am also working on something too that's really funny. So I hope you will enjoy it. I'm probably going to put it out here in a little bit. Also, I'm dropping the commentary that we had the other night from Chloe Jade and our friend Lost in Translation. So really great live perspective from a single father, really, really powerful statements made. And I wanted to kind of just put it into a video format. Plus I added in Eric Church, which, you know, he's really big into true crime, and then also does his music. So really, really great commentary in that one. Also found the video, right? Because Chloe said she would send me the video of Summer dancing next to the barrel. So found that, put that in the video. You guys ought to check it out. And yeah, we have a great show planned for tonight. So tonight I have Eric Kratic, well, when he was a detective. And it's a Facebook post with Eric Kratic speaking about being a detective and some of the things he likes and dislikes or whatever. They interviewed him. So we're going to go over that tonight. And then I also have an update on Lily and Jack Sullivan from the Mob Crew. So I wanted to kind of analyze that video. It's a short video, 2 small clips that I made, and just really good information and a quick update. I know that there was some controversy on YouTube, you know, concerning all of this. So, but there's always controversy all the time, right? I'm dealing with my own bit of controversy on YouTube. I guess it just comes with the territory, and depending on who you're dealing with, some people will handle it in a classy way, and then other people will handle it in a not so classy way, right? We all know how to use our words, but some people act a little bit out of sorts. But I did want to shout out to Bullhorn Betty because she really showed up and showed out for me yesterday. So I crashed out after court. I was really tired and just really exhausted. A lot of you who have been with me from the very beginning know my story pretty well. I don't share every aspect of my story, but you all are aware that I do have PTSD. And the stalking has really amplified the PTSD, right? So I didn't sleep at all. I woke up at like 5 o'clock on Sunday, prepared for the live show, did the live show, and then I stayed up and just kind of, you know, if I get nervous, I clean or I do so, you know, I just try to like expel that energy. I'll like exercise or do something, right? Just to kind of help with that, right? Because it's stressful. And they, you know, have been kind of like posting things. So I think I just needed to say thank you so much to Bullhorn Betty for showing up and showing out. The court date was continued because White Boy's wife said that she did not have a lawyer, and so she needed time to get a lawyer. So I asked that the court date be rescheduled for the same date as him. I do have an active restraining order, protection order of protection on White Boy Radio. So, hey, Holly S., and welcome in, everybody. It's nice to see you. Happy Tuesday. Sorry, it's not Monday Night Raw. It's Tuesday Night Raw. But I just wanted to kind of give my own update because they kept posting things that were saying they were victorious. And I don't know how you would be victorious in a situation like this. It's actually really horrible. And I was really lucky to have someone because, as a lot of you know, I just moved here from Missouri the week of Thanksgiving in November. And I really love it in Florida. It was very peaceful and nice, and it hasn't been because of the situation. But they were continuing to post things like round 1 and stuff like that, and that they're not going to stop field trips, and you know, they're saying these things in a plural fashion, like they've done it several times, and it's just it's terrible that I even have to deal with this, let alone address it here. Absolutely, Meg. Betty's a wonderful person. I was very lucky to have met her and had her as a support, because like I said, it's not like I could just call one of my girlfriends, or I have guy friends, a lot of guy friends, but I can't just call someone and be like, hey, do you mind coming with me? And just to stand with somebody in that situation is just very empowering. And I felt bad because the other side didn't really have anybody there. So I'm a very compassionate person, and a loving person, and I don't ever want to wish bad on anybody ever. That's not something that makes me feel good, and that's not how I was raised. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there and just let you guys know that, they didn't have a lawyer or anybody there. And so that's why they had to continue the court date. And they luckily continued it for the same day and the same time. So that's good. That way it's not having to go back and forth, because it's not close to my house. So yeah, show poodles it is. And I just want to say too, like, don't be mean to each other, guys, and don't go and be mean to them either, like, because of this. I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on, because I don't think it's proper to have the lies all the time. And it's obvious that I don't have any warrants or anything like that, like they're saying. So it might just be a good time to stop all of it, and that's the only intention that I have in my heart, is for this to be over with, and for me not to have to be in hypervigilant mode. And but yeah, as I said, just somebody that's willing to stand with you. And yeah, I just again, thank you, Bullhorn Betty. You're an amazing person, amazing woman. I learned a lot just about advocacy and just a lot of different things. So even though I was dog ass tired, I'm so sorry for being dog ass tired. But if I would have tried to lay down, I wouldn't have been able to sleep, and I would have been grumpy. And so I figured, you know what, I'm in it for the long haul tonight. Woo, so that's what I did. But I was so glad to have had the show too, because it really kept me calm and grounded, and that's what you all do here. And so does the true crime genre as it is. Some people go and watch. I mean, I watch funny videos too, but it's like I also watch true crime in a weird way, like in a calming way, like to in my free time. So there's that. But living true crime, not so fun also, so I mean, that's just it. But and I'm just praying that the judge will see that I need protection, and it'll be over with, and that's all there is to that. But tonight we are going to get into our true crime cases that we feel so passionately about and that we love, right? Because I think that's one thing that we can all agree on across the board, is passion for true crime. So that's it's just an important thing. Yeah, show poodles, I just had to do it. I just had to go ahead and I just had to stand up. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do it either, because it's not something I want to do, right? I'm not like, oh yay, I'm looking forward to this, woohoo. Like it's like very somber, and I wasn't really even myself. And then I ended up feeling a little bit bad. Like I was like, hopefully I wasn't like a total what's that lady on the Saturday Night Live where she's the Debbie Downer. I was hoping I wasn't like Debbie Downer, everything bum bum bum, but no, it was a good experience, because I had a good person with me, and so that's all there is to that too. It's just easy, right? Town Chat Cafe says, so does that mean also he is not allowed to post things about you online either, right? Yeah, Town Chat, I am really adamant about free speech, but it gets to a certain point where, it's continuing on and on. So it is not going to be in their favor to continue to do that, right? It's not in my favor to really say anything either, right? I mean, that's why I did not want to address it. But I also felt like, wow, there's so many people out there that seem to have kind of dropped off. And um, after he admitted that he was served, I thought a lot of people would be like, hey, Lady Freedom, I'm sorry, but I did believe what he was saying about you, or what Queen Bee was saying about you, or, B Tim calling me a horrible person. And he sounded like he's scared of me. And I was like, okay, gangsta. And so I was like, but, and I can put up with that because, I put myself on YouTube so that I open myself up to that, right? It's just part of it. But I didn't expect this. I didn't expect what I'm dealing with, you know what I mean? So, and I also think that everybody deserves to have legal counsel, but I was under the impression that they already had legal counsel because that's what was being bragged about on his channel as well. So then I was, but it's in no one's best interest to talk about it. But I feel like I owe that at least to the people that follow me, for you guys. And I didn't want to put it up on a paywall. Plus, I was just very impressed and felt very loved, by Bullhorn Betty. What an amazing person that does that. That's the kind of thing that I like to do. So I will definitely be paying it forward. That's how we should be with each other. We should never leave each other in a bad situation. And so that's why I said I felt badly. So I didn't push for anything besides the same court date for everyone. And I stand on that because, I'm a really bad liar too if I was to go in there and be like, I'm terrified of this girl, because it's not really her that I'm worried about. It's about the person who was selling GHB, and it wasn't 20 years ago. It was more recent than that. I would just, encourage people to do their own research, but there's a reason why, there's a reason. And when you're having to drive him because his license is revoked, then I'm scared of you too, in a way, right? But I'm not going to get up there and say that I'm afraid of somebody, which I couldn't say that, right? Because I came in there standing tall. I had someone backing me up, and they didn't, the other person that I'm talking about. So, I mean, I have a heart, man. I have a heart. And I don't like any of this, as I said. Sasha says the feds are hot on this case, as you well know. Only morons would do this, my opinion. Amen, Sasha. Amen. And that's the thing, we're going to talk about this, right? Because like I said, I want to analyze Kratic's interview, because this is back when he was a detective, right? He's got the detective patch, right, on his lapel. I don't know what do you call it? Right here. And some of the things that he said was really interesting. I did a little bit of a slow jam, excuse me, on this one. So yeah, I reviewed Kratic. Was it 4 or 5 months in? I reviewed Kratic, right? Because the statement came out about the snuggle struggle. All right, people say stupid stuff. Talk is cheap, right? It was a long time ago. If we're going to make the argument, right? Because I've heard those arguments. But we've seen these actions kind of with Kratic where he's very territorial over the case, right? So I was like, wow, he's being interviewed as a detective. And I'm not sure if you guys can see his patch, actually. Like, he's got his badge on the one side, and then he's got the his description there, detective. She's Rexrific. Cow Chat Cafe. She's totally Rexrific. I love her, Disa. She's amazing. She's amazing. Thank you, Holly S. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to text people back. Oh, I did not mean to do that right away either, or, talk, because I was just so busy with everything. So Here for the Truth says, I'm in Missouri, southwest of Springfield. Oh, cool. Okay, so yeah, I was right in Springfield, and that's why I'm pretty well into the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. If you guys have followed me from the beginning, you know that too, from the lives, since I started going live in December. And Adam Forever 21 says, what the hell's going on with this white boy stuff? What do they do? They just, well, first they threatened to come to my home, so I made a police report. Then they decided that they were going to follow through, and they did come here, and all the buildings have codes on them, so I'm still not sure how they were able to access anything. So it was just kind of unnerving, but I thought that was the only time they came. But then he's done recent lives saying that, field trips, plural. He's even posted that they're not going to stop. So, again, people can say things. So it's just tough. And, you don't want to look like a Karen, but in the situation, like I said, I'm dealing with somebody who's dangerous, dangerous, in my opinion. Hey, Babs, good to see you. It's great to see you. I'm doing well. I am doing well. Like I said, I'm doing very well. I feel like I'm very blessed and lucky to have good people that are surrounding me. Also, shout out to Josh from the lab, because I also saw his lives. I do go in his lives a lot. He's hilarious, and just love Josh. He's great. Everybody that has been supportive, and I think you all know who you are. You guys are amazing. Yeah, Adam for Forever 21, and we'll do a live at a later date, like when it's all over with and stuff like that. And I just want to be respectful of the process, the court process, right? Because it is one that is a process. But I also want to show people that there's a good way to handle things where you don't have to keep going back and forth with somebody. Like, it's a different story if there's a beef and you're just kind of going back and forth with them online, but when you decide to show up at their home, and I live in a private park, right? So this is not, public easements or anything through here. So it's just not proper to do that to each other. And I'm sorry if that's ever happened to any of you guys. I just don't think that that's fair. And to keep on saying, I'm going to come back, it's very off-putting. And honestly, I went through the process of documenting everything, so that way I would be able to achieve the final goal, which is protection. So it's really important. Also, our friend Eric with an H, he has a channel, and he also posts videos, and he has posted resources, which I have also posted again, and I'll do it in the description. On how to deal with cyberbullying, right? Because people are jerks. If they're being that way, don't let them do that to you. I mean, there's a way to handle it. You don't have to, it's like what the Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong, right? You don't have to get in trouble over it. You just tell the authorities. They're going to help you. They're, at first they're going to be like, well, there's not a whole lot we can do about it, right? When it's just a threat. But then when it escalates, they're gonna do something about it, right? And so it's a process. And but please don't ever feel like you need to put up with that, because you don't. BHB does not play. BHB does not play. And I was so blessed just to have such a strong, wonderful woman, there. So Sasha says, using thermal imaging and potential cadaver February, not checking certain spaces thoroughly is a major red flag. Extreme changes to a certain location is a major red flag. Oh, absolutely. Tons of red flags. Tons of red flags, Sasha. I agree. Show poodles. All red flags. Yes, Meg says, I have mad respect for BHB. She went to jail for Sebastian and went to help another woman who's been in her shoes before. She's a great woman. Absolutely. I have mad respect for her too, and just a nice person too, like an interesting person to be around, not like I said, she was interesting and I was like, I hope I'm not boring. Like, especially after on the drive back, I was just kind of like, so like it all hit me, right? And like I had a lot of coffee, you guys. I had a shit ton of coffee and I was still like, you know, thank you, Babs. She says, I'm so glad you stood up for yourself. Have a video proof of the harassment. They documented everything for me, and the big bit was, transcripts and stuff, I mean, you just never want to make anybody ever feel bad. It's not nice. Thanks, Babs. No, well, it does me too, and it just puts me in the same like position back where I was with my ex. That is true though. Oh, Babs. Yep. No one who is human, LE, or any kind of person with respect refers to grape as snuggle struggle. I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. And he seems to have been tagging his ex-girlfriend. I hope I got that right. I try. And if I didn't, I apologize. And I'll fix it. Move to Texas. Move to Texas and you'll have friends called the Smith and Wesson and the good old boy Winchester too. Town chat. That's funny. Yeah, one time I had this boyfriend and he had taken me to the shooting range and he didn't know that I could shoot. And so the first one I got a bullseye, just to be a stinker, like, hey, look what I could do. And he was impressed. He's like, okay. I was like, yeah, I know how to shoot these. A friend of mine had, they have a lake house in Branson, and so just go down there and you could shoot whatever you want. They're like right on a cove, so it's not like anybody's going to be across there or anything. I mean, hopefully not, because it's pretty rural. I mean, they have built some condos close now on the other side, but not the lake side. So if that makes sense. Babs, be a Karen. Be a Karen. Be more than a Karen. Be an Olivia. Don't take any crap from anyone. That's so cute. I love that. Babs. Well, it is immediately for stalking, harassment, including panic and menacing. Well, and see, the thing is I already had an open cyberstalking case for like Terry Lynn and her group, and I know that's who put them up to this. And so it was like I tried to explain that to them and ask for them to stop respectfully, but they didn't want to. It's just a big, I don't know. It's just a mess, right? Babs, when someone steps on your foot, your property, or your home, oh hell no. Babs. I probably would, like if I ever had to do that though, I would just like probably disable somebody like in their foot or something, you know what I mean? Or their knee, something like that. I would never want to like hurt somebody like that or anything like, I mean, unless it was, but let's watch this first clip. No, it's not cool. And it's just upsetting. It's upsetting. But I appreciate you guys. Show poodles. I think everybody that lives in Missouri has a second home in Branson. Like there's all kind, it's everybody. Like it's so pretty in Branson. Branson is so pretty. Before they built those condos, it was gorgeous down there at night. You could see the full Milky Way, and like if you sat outside at night, you would hear like coyotes and all the wildlife and stuff like that, but it was just really peaceful. It just was awesome. Yeah, my safety, and that's what and it's other people too. I mean, they've done this to several people, it's not right. And people need to understand that you could watch somebody, and if they say something you don't like, you just turn them off, you know. There's so many channels on YouTube, oh my God, or any of it, right? Linda Farmer Screen Cop. Yeah. No, and it's difficult because of my past, you know what I mean? It's reminiscent of it, and but it's weird when you don't know the person too. That's kind of creepy. So, oh, okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and play Lily and Jack first. This update for Lily and Jack Sullivan, and they are missing out of Nova Scotia, Canada.
From their home in a deeply rural part of Nova Scotia, that 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack seem to have disappeared without a trace. Despite multiple searches, there's been no sign and little information until the Nova Scotia RCMP released an important detail. Retired police staff Sergeant Jim Hoskins isn't involved in the case, but says it's rare for 2 children to go missing together.
They're trek into the woods. You only have one other option if there's no abduction. That option is a criminal.
The main feelings from sadness have just turned to anger because there's no evidence as of after 1 month.
There are many new details to go over. As we hit the 1 month mark since Jack and Lily were last seen, there have been some very interesting things going on, starting with another clue as to where and when Jack and Lily were last seen. Over a week ago, they revealed a new major update about Lily and Jack being seen in public on May 1st, sometime around the afternoon. Also, they claimed this was near the Lansdowne station, but would not say exactly where. But in a recent article, they updated the location to New Glasgow, which is a nearby town to the northeast. Here is the quote from Martell himself. Martell said, "Police have retrieved surveillance camera footage in New Glasgow that shows himself, the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, the couple's 1-year-old baby, Meadow, and Lily and Jack." He said he couldn't say where the footage came from because it might be important to the investigation.
We have confirmed that Lily and Jack were observed in public with family members on the afternoon of May 1st.
The children were reported missing the morning of Friday, May 2nd. Their mother has said they'd been kept home sick that day and the day before. A massive search followed until May 7th, when police announced efforts would be scaled back. Additional searches were held throughout the month. Confirmation they were seen on May 1st helps fill out the timeline.
It does raise red flags as to why they would need to keep that information private regarding the May 1st sighting in public, as it could be important to the investigation. Here's the latest interview from Daniel Martell, who continues to be vocal and stays in the public light.
It's been 4 weeks since Daniel Martell has seen his stepchildren. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing Friday, May 2nd, after they wandered out of their Pictou County home. They have not been found after weeks of extensive searching the heavily wooded area.
Every day when I wake up, it just feels like I'm reliving a nightmare of May 2nd. But the main feelings from sadness have just turned to anger because there's no evidence as of after 1 month. And it's really taken a toll. I know that they're working hard and they're using every resource they have, and it makes me hopeful because that's all we have at this point is just hope.
A vigil of flowers and stuffed animals has grown in recent weeks outside the RCMP station in nearby Stellarton. Martell says every detail helps and could lead to finding Lily and Jack.
I'm going to keep fighting for the rest of my life to find these kids. That's the only goal I have at this point.
The search and rescue teams recently went back out to search for the siblings over the weekend. This particular search was interesting as it could hold a clue as to one angle or location RCMP and/or SAR are focusing on. Recent articles and news outlet were informed of where the recent search was conducted, and what's interesting about this search is this area has been searched before, and more so, this is where they had found possibly a big clue on the first 2 days of searching. Here is what they had to say.
RCMP say ground search and rescue crews and police will return to the area this weekend, focusing on a nearby pipeline trail where a boot print was previously located.
Police say multiple search and rescue teams, drones, police dogs, and 2 DNR helicopters are searching the area in Pictou County. Rain and sheer size of the wooded area has created some challenges for those on the ground.
Here's a look at the previously released grid search and where they conducted a portion of the search they did on the first 4 to 5 days. You can see that they had focused a good portion of their search to the north and west of the home. This is where they allegedly found boot prints somewhere along the pipeline trail. You can hear search and rescue on the radio scanner mentioning this clue early on in the search for Jack and Lily.
Would walk up the gas pipeline trail there, and there's definitely some child-sized footprints in the mud here that are still visible. They're a bit eroded from the heavy rain, but they're still visible. So, not sure if you'd like us to continue on up the trail or what you'd like to do. Over.
Okay, guys, so Lily and Jack also have a vigil, had a vigil yesterday, right? So June 2nd, Monday, June 2nd, 2025 at 8:30 p.m. there was a vigil, and they were taking donations. They said they're still needed. Please contact the admin, right? So I'm not sure who that admin is. Help finding Lily and Jack Sullivan, candlelight vigil for Lily and Jack. Let's light the way home for these beautiful babies. So that is something that they had for them, which I think vigils are so important. I think it was really important for awareness and also just for prayers to be lifted up all together in one area. I really believe in that. I think it's really smart. And so that's what they did there. There's also seems to be a little memorial outside of the RCMP station, according to the sources here. So shout out to Mob Crew, always does a great job, and I always like to go to people who are very fact-based, right? So I appreciate that, right? Lily and Jack Sullivan missing from rural Nova Scotia, Canada. They have been missing for 1 month. They were reported missing on May 2nd, but they were last seen in public with family on May 1st. So we hear from an expert here that it's very rare for two children to go missing together, right? We don't often hear about two children being abducted at the same time. And so he brings that into play, and he also brings some more information, very interesting information that we're going to go over in the next clip. But again, these two children are missing in very rare circumstances, and in my opinion as well. We also have moms saying that the kids were kept home sick the day of May 2nd and then May 1st. That the day before that, they were also homesick. Okay, so that's what we have there, according to the source. Daniel Martell has seemed to be more vocal when it comes to the public. So that's how we see that. Hey, Kate. Hi, Kiki. How are you doing? Hey, Billy B for you. How are you? Hey, SI Officer KJ Mack. Nice to see you. Hey, Linda. Hey, Truth for Us. Oh, I think I already mentioned Truth for Us. Sorry, guys. Trespassing, absolutely. Private property. Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. BHB is serious, knows her stuff, and is hilarious and comforting. She's been there. All true. All true, Babs. Josh, also true. Josh on the lab cracks me up late at night. Me too. Me too. I'll like talk about really serious stuff over here, and then I'll go over to Josh and laugh because although you guys make me laugh too. I love cutting up with you guys too. But yeah, it's amazing because that's I'll go over and and sometimes I'll say hello and sometimes I just watch from the bushes, because I mean you know, I'm at that point, I'm kind of almost mentally exhausted, and that's the only reason why. But I always see all of you guys in there, and we're a lot of you guys in there, and love reading your comments and interactions too. So, oh my gosh, really? Bab says my stalker came to my apartment door 2 years ago. He's married. I found his wife on Facebook, and I said if he ever comes near my apartment again, he'll be blind from the raid wasp spray. She divorced him. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. I don't understand that either, that part of it. I will never understand that. Even if somebody tried to explain it to me, I'm pretty sure I'll probably won't understand. Um, hey KJ Mac, good to see you. Yeah, exactly. No drama. No drama here. Thank you. Thanks, KJ Mac. That means a lot to me. Um, yeah, and I don't wish anything bad on anybody. Hey, Ann Brock, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I don't play with the freaks who have no clue. Babs, you don't play on wasp spray. I'm gonna have to invest in some of that. Oh my goodness. Smithy and Wes. You guys are so funny. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Billy B for you. Says Lady, you keep being you, and who cares for the haters? I'm with you. Aw, that's so sweet. Aw, thank you. Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's a lot of dangerous situations. You know, one awesome piece of advice that I got from just a great friend to a great woman is, hey Jude, and she said, when you step out your door, you're automatically you're automatically a target if you're a woman, you know, and she's right. Statistically, we are, you know, more vulnerable, right? Like, you know, men are more apt to, you know, go after us and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't want that to mean sexist or I don't want a man to hear that and be like, gosh, Lady Freedom doesn't like men. And because I don't feel that way. I really do. And I have, like I said, a lot of guy friends. One of my closest friend is a guy. And you know, just like we heard from our friend last night, Lost in Translation, and I'm a huge like Bill Murray fan, so when I heard Lost in Translation, I was like, that's the best name ever. But he also just put things so well, or he was so well put in what he was saying, that it was just so nice and refreshing to have a male point of view on the show, because a lot of us are women, and then, you know, because I know my demographic very well, in my analytics as well. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I understand that there's not a lot of male viewership, and then also participation in chat. Of course, I'll notice. But I hope that changes, and I hope that men feel, you know, comfortable coming here and voicing how they feel about things, because it's super important to recognize everyone and know that everybody could bring value to the situation, especially when it's a different perspective, right? And the most profound and wonderful thing that I have heard possibly ever. Lost in Translation says that, you know, people on the autism spectrum, they will be annoyed with us, that we aren't as smart as them, right? That we just don't get it. And that's not a direct quote. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But it was just very profound, the conversation. So as I said, I'm shortening that up in case you just want to go over and hear his you know, what the topics that Lost in Translation went over. You know, and I definitely think he's pretty fly for a white guy. So if he comes back on, you know, we're gonna have him back on. So if he will be so inclined, which, you know, I hope he is, because like I said, it's important. And then also his son is 26, right? He also has a daughter, but 26, and so he's been through, you know, all of the stages of being a father up until 26, right? Of an individual with autism. And so, because he's not a kid anymore. Hey, Starflower. Yeah, it is confusing. Starflower says this case is so confusing. If they were sick, why were they out and why was it not mentioned? Well, they said they kept Lily home from school because she had a cough, but they didn't mention anything about Jack being sick. So I don't think he had a cough or anything wrong. I think they just kept them both home if one was sick. But that confuses me because I think when we were talking about it the other night, a lot of people felt that way, that they wouldn't keep both kids home. If one is sick, you just send, the one that isn't sick to school and the one that is home. The only thing that I can think logically would be a precautionary way of thinking, as in maybe Jack's going to be sick if Lily is, and they don't want the other kids sick. I don't know. It's confusing, absolutely. Town Chat Cafe says, in my opinion, I think they were kept home on purpose with plans to set them up to go missing. Well, and I'm, right there. Because it just kind of tap dancing on that line a little bit, because it's hard to say. I would think if for this to work, my problem is, I'm sorry, I just want to word this in the correct way because I don't want it to be taken wrong. It's my understanding that there's been a lot of controversy, as I said in the beginning, in terms of maybe what was said by Daniel to another creator's channel, and then of course we were analyzing it on YouTube. Happens all the time, right? And all the creators involved I love, by the way. So I love all of you guys. Doesn't change anything for me, my perspective. Just love all of you. In this case, I think things are very clearly getting out of hand in terms of what we saw in Sebastian's case and Summer's case, and kind of what we were talking about last night, and what we've been talking about really on the show here and there, maybe little segments of talking about it, as you guys bring it up, or maybe as I might bring it up in conversation. I would hate to add any more stress to that situation or blaming to that situation, because I have to be honest with you guys. When I look at Daniel Martell, he is participating, right, as much as he can. In my opinion, he's been vocal. We've seen him searching. I hope that he organizes more searches in the future, and I hope that he's cooperating fully. It seems as though he is, but you just never know, right? Sometimes people participate and they're very pliable because they're trying to make sure that they can get the information, the inside information, right? We kind of saw that with the Proud Feet. They were cooperating with law enforcement, but they were also not cooperating in other ways. But again, with the Proud Feet, they were very vocal in the beginning, especially Mr. Foot, and he was awful, right, in the beginning, just bragging about how he was beating Sebastian. We don't see that with Daniel. So I have to give him that at least, right? Because look, at the end of the day, I'm worried about Lily and Jack. Where are they? Where are Lily and Jack? How could they have left, right? And I know that's what you guys are worried about. And again, I have to be honest that we all have the right to remain silent. And that's what it seems like after the initial interview. Malaya has been, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name. It's a beautiful name, but Malaya, I think, is how you pronounce it. She only came out once, and that was it, and she's been quiet. Some would say that's a smart strategy. She came out and said her story, and she hasn't said anything else. But I do also know that in the public perception, and then when I'm putting my public perception hat on, right, then I'm like, okay, that looks really fishy, even though we have the full right, even when we get on the stand in court, to say I'm pleading the fifth, I'm not talking. Everybody has the right to lawyer up, different things like that, though. do raise people's eyebrows or do cause pause and say, okay, we're taking a note, right? We're taking a mental note in the court of public opinion. And so, when I put myself into that position of public opinion, I think that there are a lot of fishy things here. I really do. I want to play this next clip, and this is from an expert. Because I myself am not an expert. This is just for educational and entertainment purposes, of course. But let's hear from this expert.
Although the search over the weekend points towards them still looking into the angle of the siblings running away, it's clear that all options are still on the table, and many, including a former staff sergeant from the area, had this to say.
It just shows continuity of who saw them last. Now, they don't say where they saw them.
Retired police staff sergeant Jim Hoskins isn't involved in the case, but says it's rare for two children to go missing together. And since RCMP said early on there was no evidence of abduction.
If it's not a voluntary trek into the woods, you only have one other option if there's no abduction. That option is a criminal investigation.
So far, this remains a missing persons case. RCMP have been tight-lipped, but investigators are now asking for any video, like dashcam footage, taken the week the children went missing along the remote road beside their home, where residents live far apart and the woods are dense.
Everybody should come forward with any footage that they have, anything that's likely. I mean, every tip counts.
Donna, this case has generated an intense amount of attention online, sparking conspiracy theories and
With all the speculation going on in this case, Daniel Martell had asked RCMP for a polygraph test earlier in the investigation. He told CBC News he passed that test, so he was quoted as saying, "You really can't point fingers at me anymore."
Right, and did you get results from that yet?
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor, we'll say that.
RCMP previously declined to say whether a polygraph would be administered. One of the other major rumors early on was about a couple of posts on social media by anonymous sources claiming they had seen many cars at the home the night before the siblings went missing, as if claiming they were parties going on at that home. Daniel Martell addressed these claims recently, and he was quoted as saying, "There was no drug party the day before the disappearance," he said. "That's absolute nonsense." Here's what some of the locals had to say about the missing siblings, including the warden of Pictou County.
So bad for their whole family. I'm hoping that they find them.
It just doesn't look good, but I hope I'm wrong.
The warden of Pictou County says many people are on edge, and children are worried about playing outside.
I think it's mostly a mood of anxiety, maybe, and frustration. They too can't believe that there's not an answer by this long and this many people looking.
The RCMP have confirmed Lily and Jack were seen on camera with family the day before they went missing. Police are asking anyone who was on Gairloch.
After a month, Jack and Lily are still missing.
Okay, guys, so, Gairloch Road, they're asking for footage from there. It's a remote road that runs right by Lily and Jack's home. And I will show it to you here. So there's the remote road that runs by the home, right? The kids have been missing for a month. And the expert says, there's a couple of scenarios that come into play, in his opinion. Runaway, abduction. He also brings up who was last with the children. Who saw them last, right? Who saw them last? I repeat, who saw these kids last? Come on, I mean, this is why there is so much speculation when it comes to Katie Proudfoot. That's why there is so much speculation when it comes to Grandis and Candace. And even we know Don was home that day, right? And even we think Chris might have been home at some point that weekend. All right. But either way, it's very rare for these two children to go missing together. Now, there is no evidence of an abduction. So if it's not an abduction, in this expert's opinion, not mine, but the one in the clip we just watched, then it turns criminal, right? It's a criminal investigation then. again, I have to refer back to Sebastian, Sebastian, and also Summerwell's, right? I mean, it's just natural. So we do have a possible polygraph test that was taken by Mr. Martell. He asked the RCMP if he could take a polygraph. He says that he was given a polygraph and that he can't really share the details, but he said it was in his favor. And then that brings us to the online rumors, right? The online rumors are kind of going crazy, right? Swirling around. He's saying that there wasn't a party or anything like that. Again, I read the statement. I can't say that we debunked it, but it didn't sound like it did come from a neighbor, in my opinion. I think it was just something that someone put out there. I think it was Evil Exists, if I'm not mistaken, that I clipped it from. I think. Again, I was unsure the day that I clipped it, too, I think. So, but I believe that's who it came from. So, but I mean, you just really got to be careful in these cases, especially on YouTube, right? Because we do have more liberties than, say, a mainstream media outlet. Not to say that, they're 100% right or we believe them all the time, because believe me, I've seen a lot, especially in Gypsy Rose Blanchard, that the media really did a number on the story, right? They told the story that they wanted to craft up, not the true story. And if you don't believe me and you feel bad for Gypsy Rose, I will link her jail calls in the description. They're terrifying, especially if you watched, if you looked at the crime scene photos. It's horrific. Hey, momming it up. Good to see you, momming it up. Bab says, true story, Lady Freedom. His wife is living her best life in Florida with a designing company. Ooh, living that best life. That's what I'm talking about. Florida's a good place to live your best life. It really is. Florida's a great place. I enjoy being here. I wish they had more advocacy for victims, though. I would like to see more of that. Maybe I could help with that or something. So, and then also I work with our mod, Chloe Jade. We're working on a cold case together. It's really nice to have people here in Florida too, different creators, or just one of my mods being so close that we can collaborate in different ways. And it's really exciting. A lot of the things that we have in the works on this channel, and I'm just really, really, pleased. So that's part of living my best life, is just making sure that we keep this channel just a classy place where we care about the victims of crimes, and really no holds barred. We could talk about anything, but missing kids, missing people, injustice, those are things that are very important to me. Domestic violence, of course, you all know, was the motivation for my channel. So but I understood, I needed to kind of incorporate a lot of different aspects of true crime, which I find to be super interesting. And I know that you all are really versed in all of the true crime people out here are very versed in all of that. So, or, Jen Coffindoffer would say the true crimers, you know what I mean? Because that's kind of what, it is, right? We're just true crimers bouncing from chat to chat, or, video to video. I'm sure you guys are all subscribed to like Law and Crime and Court TV, and Vinny's got his spinoff here, all of that. So Kiki says, girl, I'm all eyeballs when I'm out, because I have kiddos too, and I'm my eagle eye, especially now I've been doing the true crime. Absolutely. And it is good. That is one thing that I do think is a blessing about PTSD, is that, which is terrible, because it does like put your central nervous system up and stuff. But it's also the hypervigilance is not a bad thing, because you are more aware of your surroundings than you would be, right? So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And Adam Forever 21 says, in my opinion, if they if they not involved, they have low lives that new kids were attending a lot and doped out. You can tell their story, choppy story. That's true, and I think that's something to be very aware of, right? Because there was paraphernalia found in the home and in one of the vehicles, and so it kind of makes you pause, right? Like, what was found and who was taking the substances? Was it someone on the property? Because there were other people on the property too. They didn't say who anything belonged to. Daniel's mother and his brother are also living in that camper. And I'll just show you guys, just for replay purposes too. So this is like kind of the other view of the property from the road, right? And you see the camper. But with that said, there's that man that got arrested too. There is more to the story about him. You will have to Google it. The bus driver, Town Chat. Are you talking about the bus driver? Yeah, Babs, it is hard. Thanks, Kiki. Hey, couponing. And Babs says, Starflower, I don't believe that either of them were autistic. A mom doesn't say maybe autistic. That's an excuse for her allowing bad behavior, setting a stage without any doctor diagnosis. Amen. I'm sorry. I have to say, Babs, I agree with you 1,000,000 bajillion% on that. And also when you keep the kids out of school, often they're not going to be caught up with their classmates, and that was the reason that she gave too. She's like, because they're not they don't catch up in school, and it's like, well, because you're keeping them out. I mean, depending on what kind of even job you have, sometimes if you take off one day of work, you're behind the whole entire week trying to catch up. So could you imagine if the kids took off 2 days 1 week or something like that, or if it was a regular occurrence? This is all alleged. I don't know. Hey, meow. Meow, meow. Bab says, same as in the Proudfoots, Katie was the last person known to be with Sebastian, per her words. Exactly. That's why I always say, Katie, where's Sebastian, right? And her story has never lined up. It's not something that even makes sense. Nothing was tampered with. None of the windows, the doors, everything was locked up. Town Chat Cafe says, and about Jack and Lily, did you hear the neighbor said there were cars all lined up in the street along the side of the road? Well, see, yes. And see, that is what Daniel was saying did not happen. Daniel said that that's not true, that there was no party. Yeah, he's saying there was no party, but thanks for hitting that like button, meow. And thank you for being here. And Kiki 2025 True Crime says, with Sebastian being a criminal investigation, then why not update the public? Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a criminal investigation. If it's not an abduction, if it wasn't a runaway, what does that leave us with? And I think we've exhausted all of the options. I think that we have exhausted every avenue that we could in terms of the different theories, in my opinion. Yeah, that's true. Local speaks volumes. Remote, who would be there to know they're unattended? Well, and somebody could have known it. Just because there wasn't a drug party, doesn't mean that they didn't have people over all the time. You know what I mean? Both can be kind of true at the same time. What I would like to ask Daniel is, at any point did Lily get out of bed? Because they were both said to be in bed at that time, right? They were both in bed and the kids were playing in the next room. So, at what point did she get out of bed? Right? Because she would have had to have done something in that regard, or they're covering for each other. Just my opinion. KJ Mack brings up a good point. Online rumors exist when regular updates are not provided. The vacuum of empty space will always be filled. LE knows this. For some reason, in Sebastian's case, they seem to be okay with it. I agree. And they do know that, you know, and they know, and they get frustrated with us, but they know we're going to fill in those blanks. Absolutely. Maman says KJ could not agree more. Hey, Tina girl, good to see you. I agree, and I hope he is still alive, and if he is, prayers he can be found before he is 18, though. Yeah, I just hope he's found it anytime soon. You know, it's just been way too long. That was asked on Smiley Stories World to Katie, and she said Katie didn't say whether they did or not, but she said his father has one on him, real snarky. So. Something I've heard many times. Kiki says, my husband says you're too invested, Kiki. I love you, Kiki. That's funny. And KJ Max says, momming it up. It's so odd, and I wonder what the reason for this is. RCMP seem to be more communicative to avoid the outlandish rumors. I agree. And you know, there's you know, a memorial that's been set out allegedly for the children at the RCMP station. So, you know, that kind of is pressure right there, right? Every time you walk out of work, you see it, you walk into work, you know, going on your lunch, you see it, coming back, whatever. It definitely puts pressure on them to do something, right? You see the teddy bears, you see the signs out there, justice for Lily and Jack. Find Lily and Jack, right? I don't know that justice needs to be served for Lily and Jack. I would say that at this point, I'm more of like a 60-40 on it. I will say that. I think they need to be found, absolutely, unequivocally. But yeah, they seem to be doing a little bit different. And I want to do kind of a brief comparison with Eric Kratic's video, because Smiley Story posted in her live, and I want to just go over it tonight because I think it's interesting what his perspective was as a detective, right? So we get Eric Kratic's detective perspective tonight, if you will. Babs, I'm praying with you. Babs says, I pray for Sebastian to come home alive as we prayed for Elizabeth Smart back in the day, and look what happened with her. Yeah, exactly. And not to say that he's not alive, right? It's not to say that he's not alive. I actually saw another creator talking about the same subject as we talk about a lot over here, which is the program in those schools. Right? That's not off the table for me. You know, I told you guys I'm at like a 5% with that one, but we've talked about it a lot here. And I'm still working on a presentation about it because I think it's important for people to understand what's out there. It's very important. Meow says Adam is small one from Globe Life. Meow says. Oh, no, Town Chat Cafe says. Katie's story has changed so many times. That's why she doesn't speak. Yeah, because the last time she spoke was May 23rd on Queen Bee, right? Then she doesn't speak again until the year mark. And then we haven't heard from her, you know, except for the America's Most Wanted interview. But, you know, that's the backdrop tonight, right? They're just sitting there jovial, playing with the toys. What a bunch of buttholes. In my opinion, of course. Let's go ahead and watch this next clip, guys. Let's go ahead and watch this next clip. It's interesting. This is Eric Kratic, right? We're gonna do a little review on Eric Kratic that we have not seen yet. Linda Farmer says a new cop needs to be put in Sebastian's case. Praying for the FBI, Linda. I mean, it's just like, come on, you know. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and play this bad boy here.
My name's Eric Kratic, and I'm a detective at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. When I started the Sheriff's Office, all I had was a high school diploma. So actually, I started off, there was a newspaper article that said the jail was hiring correctional officers. So I took the civil service test, got hired as correctional officer, spent about 18 months in the jail, got promoted to road deputy, was on the road for about
Rogue or road?
15 years. Then got promoted to patrol sergeant, and then I lateraled into detective spot in CID. It took me about 6 years to earn my bachelor's, and then it took me 2.5 years to earn my master's. So that's actually one of the things that I love about my job. There's no typical day. I don't ever know exactly what's going to happen other than me working on the cases that I'm assigned, and then as things arise, I just take care of them. Being able to prove things beyond a reasonable doubt for prosecution. There are lots of things that we know, but there's not a lot of things that we can prove in court. So holding people accountable for their actions is difficult. Being able to prove things beyond a reasonable doubt for prosecution. There are lots of things that we know, but there's not a lot of things that we can prove in court. So holding people accountable for their actions is difficult. I think the most rewarding is when you get to help children or any vulnerable part of society. You know, there for a few years I was a motor officer, so I got paid to ride a motorcycle every day. I spent about 7 years on the county SWAT team, so got to do a lot of really cool high-risk search warrants and manhunts and things like that. That were a lot of fun. The obvious response is a criminal justice degree or plan, but I think if you dive a little deeper and you think about political science or pre-law, a lot of people don't realize how important English is. Writing a report, public speech, testifying in court is not everybody's forte. It takes some getting used to. So there are lots of different aspects that go into making a complete cop. I would say go into it with an open mind. There are lots of speed bumps along the way. Something you have to have a desire to continue to learn. Every day case law changes all the time. Just since I started, I got hired with a high school diploma and now have a master's degree that I've worked through while being employed full-time at the sheriff's office. So it's definitely doable, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work too.
Okay, guys, so that's Eric Kratic, right? According to Eric Kratic. So really interesting in my opinion. Eric Kratic has a master's degree, right? We've talked about that. I even mentioned it in the video that I did on Eric Kratic when I said I was deep diving, right? So this is kind of another little bit of a deep dive here, but in his words. So 6.5 years he went to school. He achieved a master's degree, excuse me. He spent 18 months as a corrections officer, and then he became a road officer, which was pretty hilarious when Smiley said, do you mean rogue or road, right? But I think he said road officer, right? So patrol. And then he, let's see, got to ride a motorcycle every day because he was one of those motorcycle police officers, right? Eric Kratic is obsessed with the English language and grammar, and he made that very clear in a lot of his posts. Like, that was another thing that I really noticed about him, is that he was he's very annoyed when people do not use proper English, and I understand that. I'm not a math person. I'm more of like a words person. So I'm better at spelling and writing and all of that kind of stuff, which you do have to be good at that, especially if you're going to be thorough in writing a report, in my opinion. But I don't know. What do you all think? Do you think that it's something that he's giving himself lip service, or do you think it's something where he does in fact possess these skills? I mean, he has a master's degree. He studied at Northwestern University. It's a great university. So, very well known universities. So I don't know. What do you all think? I mean, is he being detailed, and does he have all of this chronicled of the CPS reports, the abuse Sebastian endured? Because the accountability factor. The title tonight is "Where's the accountability?" Right? We need to know where the accountability lies, where it will lie ultimately. Interestingly enough, when Eric is asked what is a challenging part of his job and what's a rewarding part of his job, right? What's the most challenging? What's the most rewarding? He states that the most rewarding part would be helping kids or the vulnerable population. Okay, so that's a good answer, right? Especially something like that, in an interview, that was a good answer. But is he just giving himself lip service, or does he really mean that? Is he just saying that because it sounds good, or does he really mean that? Because we've been questioning that for a few days here too, about if Eric Kratic is really doing everything he can, and does he really care about Sebastian's case? He said the most challenging part of his job as a detective is proving something beyond a reasonable doubt in court, because there's lots that we know, but it's not something that we could really prove in court, which is true. And it is challenging. I find that to be interesting for a lot of reasons, especially because in Sebastian's case, we seem to, according to Eric Kratic, not have any evidence. So if we don't have any evidence, then there's nothing to present for proof beyond a reasonable doubt, or really anything in this case. And so my question is, why is that? Because he follows that up with saying that, he has to keep an open mind, that there's going to be a lot of speed bumps, and that you have to have a desire to learn. And those things are very important to keep in mind. I agree with him that if I was to give someone advice on being a good police officer, I would say keep an open mind. But in the beginning, they only ran off the assumption that Sebastian was like a runaway and walked off, right? And yeah, there's a lot of speed bumps in anything. In life, there's speed bumps, right? So I could agree there. But the desire to learn, again, I just don't see that with Eric. And I understand that there are things that he has to keep up to date on, right? Laws change. There's new things put into play. There's new policies. I get it. New procedures. Hopefully we see that. Hopefully, and it's just part of life. Every experience we have, we're going to learn something from it. And hopefully he did learn that he does need to be more open-minded. And he does need to have a desire to learn and not just go off of one assumption. But as it pertains to Sebastian's case, I just hope that he stops being so stubborn, and he will hand it off at some point to the FBI. And that's just how I feel. Hey, Vic, good to see you. Sasha says RCMP, why hasn't the RCMP searched the abandoned park where the person on dispatch was mentioned that matched the bus driver description? That's odd to me. Yeah, that is odd. I wonder why they haven't searched the abandoned park either. I didn't know about that, Sasha. Thank you for hitting the like, Vic. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. Kiki says, Sasha, you also hear dispatch say, ask the mom to stay there. Sure did. She sure did. And she didn't stay, right? She left. Bab says, and the freakish crane toy, like Sebastian is 7. What the hell? Yeah, really. And Sebastian, I don't think he wanted to operate a crane when he grew up. I think Sebastian would have done wonderfully in, like a graphic design, or working with animals, or a video game. There's a lot of different jobs that you can get and play video games all day, create video games, different things like that. I think Sebastian would have done wonderfully at something like that. I really do. If he would have been able to have access to that technology to grow, absolutely. I agree, Babs. Kratic is unqualified to be a sheriff. He only got that by default. He's a weenie, and I'd love to tell him to his face. Absolutely, he did. He ran unopposed for sheriff, and he is the sheriff, you know? Absolutely. KJ Max says, wow, Kratic, he's making excuses how difficult it is to hold people accountable. Nice. My thoughts exactly, KJ Mac. You know, it's crazy. So where's the accountability when it comes to Sebastian, right? Like, we can only imagine where that accountability is gone. For me, it's gone out the window, and it's frustrating as hell. I'll just say that. I'll just, you know, leave it there. Sorry, guys, I got a little bit backed up. Hey, Debutante, good to see you. Hey, Chloe, good to see you, my friend. And Kiki says, my mom works for judges for 32 years, and I've been around it a lot, so you can usually tell when someone is experienced by their persona and public speaking. Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, like I said, too, I'm sure that Kratic had a lot of schooling, ample schooling, right? And I've never, ever denied that. And I've also said, you know, it's crazy how educated he is, but yet he'll say something like that accountability statement, right? And it gets me. Not that I can't disagree with him when it comes to it being a difficult task to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. If it was easy, then people wouldn't need a lawyer to do that, right? They could just get up there and do it themselves, right? So we wouldn't need any of the court system at all. Hey, Suzanne, good to see you. Hey, Chloe. And welcome in, everyone. Hey, Rogue, good to see you. Good to see you, Rogue. Yes, he was, and the sheriff demise was, Bab says, Rogue, yes, he was, and the sheriff's demise was questionable. I agree, 100%. And I'm sorry if I'm behind in chat, guys. Absolutely, absolutely. Adam Forever 21 says, yes, Sasha, exactly. No, don't be sorry you're late, Rogue. I love having you here when you're here, my love. And she says, I wasn't aware of the live stream seen on my phone. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang YouTube. Come on, YouTube, get with the program. Oh, my goodness. Dang. Yeah, and, you know, I put it up like an hour before, so sometimes I know that happens, too. So Sasha says, my opinion, he's irrelevant, an obstacle at this point, not, an aid. I agree, Sasha. I agree. It's getting to the point where it's just causing more frustration, right? In my opinion. You know, I'm not trying to be mean, or hateful or anything like that, but I just don't know why he won't give it up already, you know? Hey, Debutante says, oh, you're not feeling good? Oh, my goodness. Aw. I'm doing well. I'll be praying for you, hon. Listening while you fall asleep. Oh, well, I hope you have a wonderful slumber, my dear. Aw. Yeah, I wish Trump would say something. I do. That reminds me, too, guys, of the letter writing campaign. I'm so glad that you said that because I am working on my letter, so I'm going to have it up tomorrow to Kash Patel. And then I'm going to have it out in the mail. And then also, guys, please send me your questions or letters because we'll do a We the People tomorrow night. Right here on Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives. I'll do like a little intro thing and it'll be exciting. So definitely send me some questions, or we can just do a question and answer in here and we'll just, kind of hash it out a little bit, right? I know a lot of people have said they've been doing the letters, but it'll be really important to get all of these out this week so that way they're flooded with these letters, okay? And not to do anything malicious or anything like that. Again, my advice is being nice, asking good questions that they it'll make them think, it'll stop them in their tracks. So if you have a question that you think is going to stop Sumner County in their tracks, or Kash Patel, or any of these governors in Congress, and people that we're going to write, absolutely, please send them. And please don't forget to remember the power of doing these things. Our friend Jana had given us the link for her sister Crystal's petition on change.org. I want to say it was 3 or 4 months ago. She already has a law put into place, guys. That's how it happens. That's how it works. We have to get Sebastian's story in front of the right people. I would like to think that Kash Patel turns his TV on and goes to Hulu and looks up America's Most Wanted. I would love to think that any of these governors and congressmen are into true crime, but they might not be. So we really need to spread this awareness. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to read my letter tomorrow, and I just urge all of you guys to do the same. Pretty please for Sebastian. Ooh, Town Chat Cafe is fostering a tuxedo kitty. What? She says, I'm fostering a tuxedo cat. He is about 7 years old, and he is the king of the hill. Here with my 3 girl dogs and him, all love and adore each other. Aw, we sure are going to miss him. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. He's the king of the hill. That's adorable. Bab says all of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office was fooled by KP and CP that morning. I think KP called Kratic, in my opinion, because they're buddies as well as other deputies. Yeah, I would love to hear the call, because if not, I would speculate in that direction as well, Babs. I really would. Thank you. The gum chomping. Kratic makes me mad about the gum chomping, and I told you guys I'm a chomper too, but I will just say he makes me so mad because whatever he said, speaking of lost in translation, no, but it seems like we don't pay attention to what he's saying because he's chomping away. And also, where's my note on that? Okay, so he says this. He says, his mom says all of his shoes have been accounted for. I'm not going to say he's barefoot, right? And he's just chomping. And maybe he's nervous, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It seems like he's been on the news several times, right? Like Kratic has been on the news before talking about different things, not just Sebastian, right? So he is, well-versed at public speaking, right? I mean, so yeah, I don't know that it's a nervousness, or he might just be a jumper. I mean, I don't know. Town Chat says those are probably CP's toys, not Sebastian, in my opinion. Oh my God. They are. He looked quite happy playing with them. You know what I mean? Maybe Katie needs to give those to him while she's on a live stream so she can actually talk and he can shut the hell up for a minute. Oh, 100%. Bab says Sebastian was held back because CP and KP didn't really want him to tell the world what was really going on in their home. Sebastian had his whole life ahead of him. They wanted him silenced. Well said, Babs. Well said. They absolutely held him back. We've been talking about that lately a lot, right? And then last night we had a wonderful father up here, and Chloe, a wonderful mother. Their perspective. They both have children on the spectrum. Night and day. Night and day. Rogue. You guys like The Walking Dead? I love The Walking Dead. Sasha says probably salty about the drastic payout after Sonny passed because sheriff makes way less than lead. Yeah, well, and I will say that Kratic seems to be somewhat of a protege of Sonny Weatherford. Our friend Jules told me Sonny Weatherford's a hell of a guy, was super sweet, nice to her. KJ Max says Kratic has a vote of no confidence from me. I would have to agree. Analyzing it, I do try to take a step back and be more objective. But when I look at that interview as a whole, I have so many questions as to why he's not applying what he's saying here in this interview to Sebastian's case. It does me too, Megan Els. The new home construction bothers me. KP got in the car and kept her windows up and drove down there and made a turn. For what reason? To make sure Sebastian didn't come out. That's a good point, Meg. That's a really good point. And she did. She just ran up and down, drove up and down the street without her window open and was not driving slow enough to be looking, you know what I mean, in my opinion. Yeah. That's a good point, Adam Forever 21. I don't understand why they can't even tell the parent what good reason do they have for not sending this to the higher ground. I don't know. I could see if they were like right there, about to crack it, but I don't see that, They're saying no evidence still. Kathy Bartholomew, good to see you, says, in my opinion, EC doesn't want to upset the donation cart. That is valid, in my opinion. And I think that could be a big, big reason for, well, other than the friendships, other than the Navy connection, other than it's a clean-cut family, other than he perhaps might feel like Sebastian's life isn't as valuable as someone that isn't on the spectrum. I mean, speculating, obviously. Sasha says he was distracted with school, or he was too distracted with school to work a case properly and no common sense. So bust, but SWAT. Yeah, he's a bully, in my opinion. I mean, he says he's got a lot of expertise in these areas, so I don't know why he's not applying it, Bab says Kratic was reciting a memorized script as he has in the past pressers about Sebastian. He's sickening. Yeah, he definitely, in my opinion, was putting this information out there because he knew it sounded good, right? He wanted to make himself sound good. And he knew that would be a good thing for his constituents to hear, and so that they would vote for him, right? Shaking hands, kissing babies, I don't know how long he decided. Thanks, Rogue. Before if he thought that he was always going to run for sheriff, if that was one of his aspirations, I would imagine it would be. I will say that, there are a lot of jobs, and it is a lot to be said when you start a job at the beginning and you kind of, follow through and you get expertise in all of these different aspects of the job is a good thing. But why is he not applying it? I don't know. Adam Forever 21 says, will it be so damn smart? Then why didn't the investigation get ordered the proper way in the beginning of the whole thing? Because he's not seasoned for this kind of environment of crime. Well, and also he says the snuggle struggle thing, and it's like he thinks that is, not really a power and control thing. It's more of like a game or something, right? He doesn't take it seriously. KJ Max says he is educated under the current standards. Master's degree are far less rigorous than they were in the past. his education is irrelevant to me. I mean, I agree. If he's not going to apply his education either, KJ Mack, I mean, come on, you know, he probably took like political science classes. He did mention that, you know, I mean, it's like, but if you're not applying any of it, then what's it good for anyway, right? You know, you pass the test, good for you, but if you're not applying any knowledge, and then if you're not applying your past experience and you're not passionate about helping victims, I mean, I would have to agree with you 100%, you know. And Brock says, I wonder if they are with their mom. I wonder if maybe they are, but I would think that the RCMP would be all over it, Anne. I really do. You know, Meganelle says, Chloe, come get the one my hubby pulled out from under the hood of the car. It's white and orange, maybe 6 weeks old. Oh, I got done feeding him. He just let me know loudly when it's time to eat. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. Don't tempt me, Meg. I'll be like coming down there and getting that cat. And then I'll just pretend like I found it here. No, I'm just kidding. Kiki says, at night just posted on X, thank you, law enforcement. Wonder what that's about. Not all LE are bad. I have several friends in Knoxville that are high up. Absolutely not all LE is bad, Kiki. Absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that. I really do. Because it's important to remember that. It's important to remember that not all law enforcement is bad. I'm not necessarily even saying that Eric Kratic is like evil or anything, but I don't like his statements. You know, I just don't. And I don't think it's bad to put on the pressure. I think giving credit where credit is due, I'm sorry, guys, let me just pull this out really quick. Oh, I might need to change the batteries in this. Either way. But yeah, everybody makes mistakes where nobody's perfect, but I think that giving credit where credit is due, but I also will call it out when there's something bad happening and I don't agree with what is going on, especially if it's taking away justice from a child who needs it, you know. So, but I'll have to look up that post. They had another really good one that I shared on my Facebook page too. Just doesn't do it for me, says Sasha. Chloe, don't tempt me. Chloe. Hey, Sammy, good to see you. I don't know how they can say no evidence is foul play and play the flashlight video and say that flashlight video is unrelated with a straight face. All those people lurking around 3 a.m. with face masks on some same night the kid went poof. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't believe that for 1 second, you know. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to turn my little air thing on. Oh. Okie dokie. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so. And Adam Forever 21 says something that I'm fearful of very much so. In my opinion, he isn't he ain't giving it up because then they're going to find faults in his investigation. Absolutely. Absolutely, Adam Forever 21. Yes, please. I would love to have Lost in Translation here again. And I am posting the video that I was working on this afternoon too, Chloe, of us So yes, please, pretty please. He's amazing. And everyone loved hearing his perspective. We love hearing the guy's perspective around here, and I never want guys to feel like they can't, be a part of it. So absolutely. Did you hear what I said earlier, Chloe? I said he's pretty fly for a white guy. You'll know what I mean by that. You'll know what I mean. He needs to be more of a gum shoe and less of a chomper. KJ. That's funny. Aw, that's so sweet of you, Meg. Maybe he's stimming. It's his stim. I know that's why, like, I don't chew gum a lot because I feel like I like mess my teeth. Because I also have like TMJ, so like, I grind my teeth and stuff, and it's so bad for your teeth when you grind them, and I can't help it. Like, I just do it in my sleep and stuff even. And I try not to do it like during the day, but that's a big reason why I don't chew gum, is because I do chomp like a lot, and it's like, it's bad. Aw, Meg, I hate when people dump dogs. It's so sad. Oh my gosh, he's so good, Chloe. And his voice is so good. Like, when I was making the video today, I was like, he has like a perfect like podcast voice. Okay. Okay. So, but Chloe says Lost in Translation was so happy to talk. He's like, he likes it because it's his passion. And I could tell, like, he also knows about Summer's case too. So I thought that was amazing. Thanks, Chloe. Aw. I'm so sorry, KJ Mac. Oh my goodness. Poor baby. I just hate all of the cancer stuff. It's horrible. Also, guys, I don't know Nana's Dragonfly, but I saw on the YouTube streets about Nana's Dragonfly's husband who passed away from cancer. And he was struggling and battling with cancer. So my heart goes out to Nana's Dragonfly. Also, I heard about Christine 555, I think is her name, is also battling cancer. And, prayers and love to those people who are dealing with that. It's horrible. Or if your pets have it, there's feline leukemia that cats have. Dogs are able to get cancer. I had a dog that had cancer and we had to put him down. It's so sad. You know what I mean? It's like, those are your best friends, my gosh, I can't imagine losing a husband, in that manner. Babs says, very odd that Sonny died weeks into his investigation. Very odd indeed, Babs. Very odd indeed. What did Sonny know? What did Sonny Weatherford know? Thank you, Rogue. Thank you so much. Guys, we're almost to 3,000 subscribers, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited. But the best part about our channel here, and I do say our channel because it's our community, right? It's my channel, but I guess our community is a better way to put it. We have the best people here. We really do. It's all people that have been built up since zero, right? And so a lot of you guys have been here since day one, I know. And then some of you are very new, but some of you were here 2 or 3 months in, when I was just very, very small. So I appreciate all of you so much. And I would never have such a wonderful channel or chat without all of you all. The comment section, the compassion, the love that you guys have and show, it's wonderful. And yeah, thank you. Sasha says, I cried during the Cavalcante. I knew we were bugged. Very bad day. My heart still implodes. We got stuck with a demon, my opinion. Oh, yeah. I got you, Sasha. Me too, Chloe. Chloe says, I respect him as a father because we have been friends since teens and I know what he really is and what he does. It makes me proud as good of a dad as he is. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and you're a quality person, Chloe, so you attract quality people, which is so wonderful. Yeah, it was just such a pleasure having you both on the show. So I think you guys will really like the kind of the little shortened version that I did last night of us talking, you know, just with the dad perspective. So I hope you all enjoy it. SI officer says, I question the same not only with Kratic but also CP's stepsister. Yeah, that was a questionable. A lot of people questioned that in the beginning, right? They really did, SI officer. And I think that's still a concern because we really don't know what happened, right? And again, that's another thing I think Babs was saying earlier too, right? Or I'm sorry, KJ Mack was saying earlier, you know, when you leave that open to interpretation, that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to interpret it the way that we do. If he's so qualified, why didn't he find Sebastian? Exactly. If he was so educated, right? We know he has the ability. Deb says, SI officer, in my opinion, there will never be any further investigation into Sebastian's case ever. They're waiting on it to go cold and gaslighting Seth. They know what happened and where Sebastian is. Babs, oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to admit, I agree. You know, I really do. And I do not hate law enforcement. I mean, shit, I'll be honest, I don't even hate Kratic, but I mean, I'm angry and I'm frustrated. I'm angry and I'm frustrated with it. And I agree with you, Babs. I don't think they're going to hand it over, and I don't know that it's going to go much further, and I'm trying to keep the faith. Hey, social butterfly, it's just hard. That's exactly correct. It's script for school job circles. Yes, absolutely. Right. Sasha, it did remind me of like an interview when you're getting interviewed for a job. You know, like when they ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Yeah. Napoleon syndrome, Linda. Linda. I agree. I agree. SI officer says he probably received his credentials through a Cracker Jack box. Oh my goodness. I thought that too until I saw, like, you know, until I researched him. And then I was like, wow. And then I was really scratching my head, to be honest. Maybe he's afraid of mama socks, Kathy. That's a great point. She's scary, right? Cruella de Vil. Yep. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. Sammy says, even if there was no conflict of interest, which I highly disbelieve, the mere appearance of a conflict of interest is enough in any case or profession to get special prosecutor or other eyes. Amen, Sammy. Really well said. Thank you. I really appreciate your insight. And, you know, I think there's a lot that they could do with this case in terms of questioning the person who was with Sebastian last again. Social Butterfly says, I was wondering as well why there were black SUVs, 3 of them, coming into the area. Wow, that is questionable. I didn't hear about that, Social Butterfly. Thank you. Then he framed it and put it on the wall. SI. He got a tattoo of the Cracker Jack box. It's a sheriff. Bab says, in my opinion, Sumner County sheriffs know exactly what happened and where Sebastian is, be it alive or deceased. They will not allow the FBI to investigate because they will be exposed to the corrupt procedures and money. Babs. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I honestly can't. You know? Someone get the kitty. Meg. You're going to get me in trouble. Kathy says, I just want EC and BC to do their job and find and get justice for Sebastian. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we want. It seems like it's too much to ask for somehow. And that's frustrating in and of itself, isn't it? It just really is. It just really is. Chloe, one of us is going to be getting that little cat. Sasha says, it's Lily and Jack. I think they're barking up the wrong tree. In Sebastian's case, we are one step away. Oh, I hope so, Sasha. I pray for that all the time. I really do. What did Rogue say? Rogue. My strengths. She says, my strengths are complaining, drinking coffee, and hanging out. LOL, just kidding. Those are my strengths too. My goodness. Hey, Lil Redo. Good to see you, girl. Oh, it was so nice getting together with you guys tonight. You guys are amazing. Kathy says, Lady Freedom, I know she scares me, in my opinion. She is scary. Oh my gosh. I'm like, please don't stab me with your chin. She just looks like someone that might do that. Instead of like a headbutt. I love you too, Chloe. Megan, she says, I don't have strengths or weaknesses. Bullshit, girl. You know what's so funny though? I always thought those questions were so odd, and then it was because it was like, if someone asks me like about my friend, you know, I can tell you all of my friend's strengths and weaknesses, but if I'm thinking about myself, I'm like, I'm like, don't back me into a corner. I don't like being asked that. But you know, they always ask you that, especially if you're in real estate. They love to know your personality style and, you know, what you think of yourself, and because you do have to sell yourself, right? So I will admit I got better at that kind of stuff, but I do think that Sheriff Kratic probably rehearsed his answers. Because damn, he could have damn qualified for Miss America with the answers he had to those questions, right? He was qualifying. The chin, Kiki. I'm sorry, I gotta be silly, guys. Mama Nup says, I'm so tired, but you were making me laugh, and I needed it. We all need to laugh more with how heavy these topics are, in my opinion. Yes, I'm working on a funny video for you guys too, Mom, and I promise you guys will laugh. But thank you. Aw. And I know you work so hard, Mom, and I know you're such a good mom, and these subjects are so tough, you know? Sasha says, I realized that my first kitten, my biggest kitten, because I ended up with three, looks just like Sebastian's cat, and I knew in my heart he did. Aw, Naders, Spanish for I talk a lot. Aw, he talks a lot, Natty. Oh, how cute. That is so sweet. Aw. I want to get a Maine Coon. I'm going to get one of those big cats. And then my dog won't mess with him because he'll be afraid of him. He'll be like, whoa, look at the lion, you know. Chloe, I kept that part. I got superpowers. Mine are making fun of myself and being loud. Amen. I love making fun of myself too. It's so fun. Meg says, I tell people I know you are dying that I love them back when they say they love me. Is that a strength or a weakness? Oh. I don't know. I think it's strength. I think it's strength, definitely. Aw. You know, you're just a loving person, Meg. That's all. Aw, Maman, thank you for the super sticker. How sweet of you. Thank you so much. Aw, you're a sweetheart. You are a sweetheart. Follow my lead. No, I love having you up. We have to do a special for Summer's birthday, so I'll be working on that too. But I'll be doing the letter writing campaign this week, but I'll also be working on because the 15th of June is going to be Summer's anniversary. So I want to put together a really nice video for her, and then also just something really great for us to kind of go over, analyze. As Chloe was saying too, and we were saying how important it is to go back to the beginning of these cases. So we're doing that with Summers because I've never covered Summers' case ever, right, on the channel until we started with Chris McDonough. Chris McDonough is amazing. And like Chloe said, he just really had a great way of pulling out information. He's super respectful. He's a likable guy, right? He asks the right questions, in my opinion. Oh, Chloe. Aw, thank you for your super chat. Chloe says, love you. Love you too, Chloe. Aw. Yeah, you're gonna love that tonight. I'm gonna be posting that here in a little bit when I get off, but oh yeah, Kiki says, Lady Freedom, we're gonna do a funny live. UN meaning Chloe, you and me. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, Kiki. I would love to do that. That sounds like a blast. I would love to do that. I'm going to try to start doing some shows during the day too. That way we can kind of get an earlier crowd in as well. Yes, he's so good. He's so amazing and so good at what he does. I agree, Chloe. I agree. Well, guys, I am going to hop off of here because I am behind for the week. Like, I really am. But I wanted to get up here and talk with you guys because I missed you so much for Monday Night Raw. But I literally came home, made some lunch, and talked to some friends, and then I just kind of zonked out and I didn't wake back up. It was just sleep, and then I woke up this morning. So at about 10:30 a.m. and I was like, I can't believe it's 10:30 and I slept that long. But yeah, I guess I needed it. But I also needed to speak true crime with you all because you guys are amazing. So I love you all so much. And make sure that we say prayers. Make sure that you're contacting Kash Patel on the internet, on X, right? That's a really great place to do it. Do I have these? Yes, I do. Of course I do. I did not take them out. I better not have. I'll be mad at myself if I did. Oh, okay. Here's Kash's on X, right? Kash Patel at Kash Patel 28 on X, right? Then we also have his address where I'm going to be sending my letter, right, to Mr. Kash Patel, Director, FBI Headquarters, J. Edgar Hoover Building, 935 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20535, right? Address to Mr. Patel, right? Let him know who the date, make sure you date it, professional, let him know who you are, where you are writing from, right? And this is a good template. You just write that up, and sincerely, right, at the end, something to make them think. And those are the things that I'm going to be thinking about tonight is how am I going to make Mr. Patel think? And the more that we do, the more that we get out there, they're going to get these letters and they're going to be like, what are all these letters about this young man, Sebastian, right? It's going to be amazing. So please help me with it. I love you all so very, very much. Stay safe out there, and I will see you tomorrow.